Okay. We got to be professional here. Got to be professional here as much as we can be. Let's see here. Let's get Josh in here. Let's call Mr. Josh Bernstein, the biggest star in the business. Forget about what you've heard. Forget about Ferris and Jello fights. Forget about gerbils and batting cages. Forget about all the shenanigans. We are going to go to Josh Bernstein. Hell of a deal. And we are going to get Josh Bernstein in here. And before we, why we're getting ready to do that, there is a lot of things happening today. Holy smokes!
Can you hear me?
Yes, I've got you, loud and clear, brother. That this is going to be a fun one today. I do like the ICE immigration hat. That is. That is pretty damn amazing. Oh, Drain the Swamp. That's a good one, too. Josh Bernstein.
I got a T-shirt for everything.
You got a T-shirt?
I was wearing a dog-faced pony soldier.
You got a little bit of everything, baby.
I found one. It took a while, but I found one.
I found one, but it took a while.
A dog holding a rifle, and he's wearing like some kind of revolutionary uniform. It says dog-faced pony soldier on it.
We are back live here with Josh Bernstein, the amazing Josh Bernstein, and there's a lot of things happening around the world. We are going to have some somber news at the end of this, but I do want to start with this Flynn thing. That's the biggest story today. What do you make of this?
Well, I first called for Flynn's complete dismissal back in March of 2017. That was the first time I called for it. And by the way, I called for Christopher Wray's resignation, I believe the day after he was appointed. Okay? So I've been right on a lot of these different things. Look, it could never stand up. The bottom line is he didn't do anything wrong. He was entrapped by James Comey. The investigation should have stopped, but then Peter Strzok said, no, keep it going so we can try to hurt him even more. They bankrupted him. They threatened his family. They threatened to jail his son. And they took advantage of the situation. And James Comey had committed a crime right on television when they said, why did you do it? He said, I put them in there. It was the chaos of a new administration. I figured I'd take a shot, see if they would talk to me. Then tells them not to even have an attorney present. Unbelievable what they did to him. And that's just the tip of the iceberg here. I'm hearing that Adam Schiff could be in some deep water. I actually covered that about 4 months ago, in which I covered the fact that he actually withheld exculpatory evidence, which is a crime, in his own impeachment hearing trial.
Wow.
And so, he wouldn't allow certain witnesses. I mean, he broke the law there as well. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, as long as Christopher Wray is there, I'm not that hopeful that we're going to see justice. But if President Trump fires Christopher Wray today, then, that's the only thing getting in the way of justice right now, because Barr and Durham are certainly in the right spots. But Christopher Wray is protecting his deep state buddies in Robert Mueller and, of course, James Comey.
We have got Josh Bernstein with us today. He joins us live here in our broadcast, and he is great. We had a lot of fun yesterday with Josh and his green screen. It was an impromptu.
We can't use it though. I'm
interview.
A floating head.
You're a
literally.
Floating head.
So yeah, that one didn't work, unfortunately.
Well,
cool.
we were just having
fun. You put me in
fun.
The jungle. You put me in outer space. You put me in Occupy Wall Street. You had all these great backgrounds, but you can't. I can't use it because I'm literally a floating head.
There he is. So John, what do you make of what Josh is saying about Flynn and everything?
I agree. I mean, I'm kind of bad. I listen to Hannity a lot, but he's been calling for that forever. And I mean, there was nothing there. It was basically a perjury trap that they tried to set. And you take a 33-year veteran who served this country honorably, and you treat him like that. I think, Comey and all those other guys are pieces of crap and should all go to jail for that, because
every one of them.
You bankrupt the poor man by threatening to go after his son who just had a kid, was just getting out on his own and starting to spread his wings. It just shows you, because, I mean, nobody that was, prosecuted under the whole thing with the Russia hoax was given any type of, kind of courtesy like they did, poor, destitute Miss Hillary, who openly, flaunted and went around the rules by destroying all their Blackberries, bleach bitting her, hard drive on her personal computer. I mean, that's all obstruction right there. I mean, that's open and shut. And I mean, I'm not a lawyer. It just really ticked me off. I'm glad they finally came to their senses and dropped the charges against a great man like, General Flynn.
It is a heck of a deal today. We've got Josh Bernstein joining us here on our broadcast, and so Josh, with all this late breaking news, there's been a lot of things that got buried on this story today with the Flynn situation. There's been that they might get rid of the coronavirus task force. They might keep them. What do you make of this?
Well, look, the quicker they can get rid of it, the better. I just got word from a couple of people in particular that said that YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter are now cracking down on videos that use the word vaccine. Okay?
Wow.
So from now on, I'm using the word treatments instead of that word. And many of this, where this is coming from, is from the female doctor, JM. I'll use her initials if you know what I'm talking about. The movie that has been taken down probably hundreds of times by YouTube that really exposes Dr. Falsey and everything that he did behind the scenes. Well, one thing, if you haven't seen that movie, there's one part in that movie that really struck me when that female doctor said that we should repeal the Bayh-Dole Act. So obviously when I heard that, my ears perked up and I said, gee, what's this all about? And I did some research on it. And let me tell you, it's some pretty frightening stuff. What this is the Patent and Trademark Law Amendments Act. It was signed into law back in December of 1980. It allows the federal government to obtain march-in rights to any new patent or invention that has been federally funded. So in other words, the federal government can march in on any research funded by the government. So a pharmaceutical company, for instance, that gets funding by the federal government, or a university's research center that gets funded by the federal government, they can go in there if they find a cure for something, they can go in there and take it away from the inventor of that patent. And according to U.S. Code 35, Section 200, under policy and objective, those entities may be required by law to relinquish those rights to the federal government. Moreover, even if the invention or patent is not funded by the federal government, in what the federal government would then decide is a national emergency, the U.S. government can still use the patent without permission to procure the patented goods under U.S. Code 281498. And here's the kicker, and get this, under the same code, U.S. Code 281498, under Section A, if the inventor of that patent or the holder of it decides to sue the federal government for using that patent or invention without getting permission or compensation, it is highly likely that in any legal proceeding, the government would win that case, because all they have to do is say that it was necessary to relinquish it for the common good of the American people.
Holy smokes.
Let's recap this whole entire thing, okay? Here it is in a nutshell.
Okay.
The man who is in charge of fighting the virus owns hundreds of patents. By the way, 12 patents alone just on HIV and AIDS. Has worked for the federal government since at least 1984, has overseen every single major health crisis in the last 40 years, and his agency funds most university research centers and many pharmaceutical companies. And because of all of that and this little known act, He is guaranteed to make a fortune on any and all new treatments. Mic drop. Boom.
Holy shit. John, what do you make about all this, brother? Take your bow, John.
I actually seen the little YouTube video that was going around. I seen that a little bit this morning. Did get to see all of it because I was having problems with my internet. But he's exactly right. I mean, they sit there, they waited, they tried to get the lady doctor to hand over all the stuff, and she was waiting for her boss, the gentleman Mr. Bernstein was talking about, to come back with the AIDS that had the isolated the AIDS, HIV, and once he got back, they told him, "Oh, we're taking it," and then they gave it to the other guy, basically just kind of like, "Here, go ahead," and they kind of basically screwed them. Then they made her, so they basically had her. Oh God, what's the word I'm trying to think of? They basically had her in jail for no charges, no nothing, and held her there.
Wow.
And it's been like 5 years, and now she's trying to write a book, but it's coming through, kind of putting Fauci in an extremely bad light.
Hell of a deal. Well, Josh, before we let you go, my friend, well, two things before we let you go, because I want to get your plug in there before we go to our next guest. I want to get two things done with Mr. Josh. We had, besides all this shenanigans today with Flynn and all the other stuff, a good friend of this radio show, and I know a good friend of yours, Mr. Barry Farber, passed away. You didn't? Did you not know this?
I did not.
I thought you heard this.
I just spoke to.
Yeah, this happened this morning, and I was standing in the kitchen looking at Drudge Report, and this popped up, and I'm like, this is bullshit, because I just emailed with him like a week ago, and he was on our election coverage every year, and last year he was on, or the last time we had the election, he was. He was on the night they re-elected Obama, and it was on the night they got Trump, and he was happy about the Trump thing and very angry about the Obama, and I remember him saying to me and Catolo and everybody, and even John, because John was with us on that last election coverage, he's like, "I'm so happy to be on. You've redeemed from that Obama thing. I am so happy to be here for the Trump thing." He was a talk radio icon. He was a friend of this show. He was a friend of yours. What do you make about all this, my man?
Well, normally I'm the one that breaks the news.
Yes.
So,
well, I apologize because I thought you're so connected. I figured you knew about this before anybody.
You know, he's been like a second grandfather to me, to be quite honest. I've known him for years. I recently just lost Dan Weber from AMAC as well. And, I was close to both of them. And Barry was a legend. And this week I'm absolutely going to have to do an entire show dedicated to him and his memory.
Yeah.
I'm going to obviously call his wife and his family when we're done.
Yeah.
And talk to them. But, he was a legend. He was a sweet, sweet man. And I learned a lot from him. I've done his show, I don't know, north of 400 times, probably, easily. And it's sad to know that I won't be able to do it again. And, one of the things that we used to say to each other at the end of every show was to be continued. Honestly.
Yeah.
To be continued, not goodbye, to be continued. And wow.
It is a this has been a hell of a deal the last couple weeks, but before we let you go, my friend, let's talk about AMAC. You're an official spokesperson for them.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of the great things they're doing, my man.
AMAC is fighting the good fight, fighting against Medicare for all, fighting against creeping Obamacare, things like that. They are righting the wrongs from big government, and they are the conservative alternative to AARP. So if folks want to learn more about them, they can go to amac.us or they can call toll-free 888-262-2006. You can get a free membership. Sorry, I'm
No.
I'm just
No, you're
beside
good.
myself right now,
You're
so.
good. I feel horrible now that I did that on the air. I thought you
Yeah.
already knew about this. So,
I didn't know.
but Barry will be missed, and he was
Hey, hun,
he was great.
Honey.
CRN, all that.
Barry Farber died this morning.
But we're gonna let you go, Josh, and let you get to your other interviews and everything. And I will talk to you soon. I appreciate it, brother.
All right, guys.
Thank you, man.
care.
There he goes, Josh Bernstein. Wow, great way for me to feel horrible. Jesus, that has never happened. Okay, well, I feel like a dick. We are gonna take